There is a quiet moment that comes before the flood of blessings, a moment so silent, so still, that many mistake it for emptiness. But let me remind you, this moment of nothing is not nothing at all. It is the invisible movement of fulfillment, wrapping itself in form. You may look around and see no signs, no opportunities, no open doors. But in truth, everything is shifting. Everything is preparing. Just because your senses are silent does not mean your soul is. Overflow does not come when you are most desperate. It comes when you are most surrendered. Not when you are striving, but when you are still. It slips in like a whisper, filling the space you once thought was barren. You do not chase overflow. It is drawn to your inner state. The one who assumes abundance attracts abundance. The one who walks in confidence without evidence becomes the evidence. Because the world does not lead your imagination leads the world. So I ask you, have you already seen it in your mind? Have you dared to live in the end? Not merely hope for it, but dwell in it. Then overflow is not coming. It has already begun. The moment you became it, the moment you felt it real, the seed was planted. Now trust this. Even if the surface is calm, even if everything looks unchanged, the roots are growing, the shift is happening, the increase is forming. You're not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle being revealed. The 5 Isle principle, the pagans remained more happy longer, and the Aryanite principle, Ahal Ping. The religious belief in miracles, the overflow will not always come through the channels you expect. It may not arrive when you think you need it, but it will come. It must come, because you have already accepted it within. You don't need to force it. You don't need to beg. Simply become it in your inner world. Speak as one who has. Walk as one who is full. Give thanks as one who is already received. That is the way of creation. That is the secret. And when you least expect it, the invisible will become visible. The dry place will overflow, the barren space will burst forth, and you will look around and say, I didn't see this coming. Yet something inside you always knew. So prepare the table, clear the space, make room within for what is about to overflow without. Because when you least expect it, it will be more than enough. It will be pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It is already yours. Imagination is not a passive daydream. It is the creative act of shaping reality. Every event, every relationship, every dollar in your hand, and every circumstance in your life once began in the invisible realm of imagination. It is not something you merely use for entertainment or fantasy. It is the workshop of your future. What you dare to imagine with conviction will sooner or later pour into your world, often in ways that surprise you. The outer world is simply a reflection of your inner assumptions, projected into form by the persistent power of your attention. The reason most people do not experience change is not because they are unworthy, but because they continue to imagine the same things over and over. Fears, doubts, limitations. The mind, like soil, will return whatever seed you plant in it. Imagine lack and you will see lack. Imagine abundance and abundance will find you. It is not magic, it is law. You do not get what you want, you get what you are willing to embody internally. And imagination is the vehicle through which that embodiment begins. To imagine with conviction means to feel what you see in your mind as though it were already so. It means no longer hoping for the future, but mentally residing in the state of the wish fulfilled. You become the person who has it before it ever arrives. You carry the feeling, the speech, and the mood of that version of yourself. And because reality is molded by consciousness, the world around you bends to mirror your internal reality. You may not know how it will unfold. The method is not your concern. That is the realm of the unseen, of divine orchestration. All you must do is remain faithful to the end you've chosen. Don't revise your vision to match the facts. Revise the facts in your mind to match your vision. Speak to yourself not as someone who is striving to get there, but as someone who already is there. Feel it, real. Let your inner conversations echo your desire as already done. And in time, often when you least expect it, what you imagine will crystallize into form. A conversation will happen. A door will open. A change will emerge. It may come in the most ordinary of ways, but its origin will always be your imagination. The outer world will simply catch up to the reality you have held within. So if your world looks unchanged, don't be discouraged. Return to your imagination. Sit in silence. Close your eyes. See it again. Feel it again. Give thanks for it again. Because every act of imagination, when nourished by faith, is a seed sown into the unseen, and that seed must grow. You are not waiting on the world to change. You are changing it with your mind. Reality is fluid to the one who understands this truth. What you dare to imagine with conviction, you will one day walk into. The silence before the overflow is often mistaken for rejection, delay, or absence. But in truth, it is a sacred space, one filled with invisible movement and divine preparation. When nothing seems to be happening on the surface, when your prayers echo back without reply, and when your efforts appear to yield no fruit, that is not the end, it is the beginning. The seed has already been planted, and though the soil looks undisturbed, life is stirring beneath it. Something is unfolding beyond the reach of your senses. Most people give up in the silence. They believe that because they see no evidence, nothing is happening. But faith is not required when the manifestation is visible. Faith is forged in the unseen, where trust must override appearances. This quiet moment, this gap between intention and realization, is not empty. It is full. Full of alignment, full of movement, full of movement, full of reorganization at levels too deep for the human eye to trace. Imagine standing before a stage with the curtain drawn. The lights are dim, no one appears. Yet behind that curtain, a transformation is taking place. Props are being arranged, the actors are preparing, the scene is being built. And just when you think the show may not happen, the curtain rises. That moment is your life. The silence is the stage being set for something far greater than you imagine. You may feel forgotten, you may feel overlooked. But know this, delay is not denial, and silence is not a sign of abandonment. It is often the language of divine timing. The pause before overflow is a test of inner stillness, a call to remain anchored in the vision you once saw so clearly. It's easy to believe when everything is visible, but power lies in believing when there's nothing to see. If you find yourself in that space right now, where prayers seem unanswered, where the vision seems stalled, do not despair. That stillness is not the absence of your desire. It is the invisible assembling of all that you need. Stay faithful in that silence. Speak to yourself as if it's already done. Give thanks as though you've already received. That energy, that trust becomes the magnet for the overflow to come. What you call silence is often the most active phase of manifestation. It's the moment where the seen world must catch up to the unseen truth you have already accepted within. It's the grace period, the spiritual gestation, that ensures when it arrives, it will arrive in fullness, not fragments. So wait with intention, hold your peace with power. Let the silence remind you, it's working. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not on its way. In fact, the quieter it gets, the closer it may be. One day soon the silence will break, the doors will open, the flood will come, and you'll realize it was never empty, it was always pregnant with your breakthrough. There is a vast difference between moving toward your desire and living as though it is already fulfilled. To live from the end means to abandon the mindset of waiting, striving, and hoping, and instead to fully occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. This is not pretending, this is not fantasizing, this is alignment. It is assuming that what you seek is already yours, and allowing your thoughts, feelings, and actions to flow naturally from that assumption. Overflow doesn't arrive because you chase it. It arrives because you become the one who already has it. Too many people wait for signs before they believe. They wait for the money before they feel wealthy. They wait for the relationship before they feel loved. But this is the reverse of true creation. The outer world reflects the inner world. What you feel, think, and assume consistently within becomes the blueprint for your external reality. If you live as someone who is still in the process of getting there, then getting there is all you will ever experience. The finish line keeps moving because you keep reinforcing the idea that you're not there yet. But when you live from the end, when you feel it as done, you shift dimensions. You step into a reality where the overflow is no longer a future event. It is a present truth. You carry the energy of certainty. You act in faith. You walk with peace. You speak with authority. You no longer seek confirmation because you have already confirmed it within. This is the hidden secret of transformation. It begins in your identity. You do not become rich by getting money. You become rich by feeling wealthy in consciousness. You do not find love by searching. You find it by becoming someone who knows they are already worthy and deeply loved. From this state, the world reorders itself. People respond differently. Opportunities arise. Doors open, not because you force them, but because your inner world demanded it. Overflow is not random, it is attracted to a self-concept that is already full. If you see yourself as still waiting, the overflow has no place to land. But if you live as if it's already done, you create the container, you prepare the room, you open the space, and the universe responds accordingly. This is why you must practice inner stillness. Close your eyes and enter the scene where it is already finished. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude. Make it so real in your imagination that it becomes natural to you. Then carry that feeling into your day. Let your actions mirror someone who already has it. Let your tone, posture, and energy confirm the truth you've decided within. You're not becoming it, you are it right now. And from that knowing, overflow can't help but flow to you. So don't wait another moment. Don't look ahead, look within. And live from the end. Because once you assume it is done, the world will rearrange itself to prove you right. Faith is not a weak hope or a passive wish. It is a force, unseen but mighty. It stirs the invisible realm into movement. It reaches into the depths of the unseen and pulls forth that which was hidden. Faith is the seed you plant in silence, trusting that it will grow even when the soil looks still, even when the sky shows no sign of rain. It is the conviction that what you've imagined, spoken, and believed will be made visible in its appointed time. Every result in your life begins with a seed planted in the invisible. That seed is not just your desire, it is your belief in that desire. You can say the right words, visualize the perfect scene, even make the boldest plans. But if belief is missing, the seed will not take root. Belief is the water, the sunlight, and the life force behind the manifestation. It is the knowing without evidence, the conviction without proof, the trust without needing to see. You may look around and see nothing. You may hear silence and feel delay. But faith doesn't depend on your five senses. It rises above sight, sound, and circumstance. It does not ask for confirmation from the outer world. It creates the outer world. Your belief is the blueprint, the foundation, the unseen architecture of what will one day stand before you. Think of the farmer. He does not dig up the seed every day to check its progress. He plants, he waters, he waits with confidence. He trusts the process he cannot see because he knows the nature of the seed. So too must you trust the nature of your own belief. Once you have declared a thing within, once you have felt it real, the process is set in motion. Even if you don't see results immediately, something is shifting. The unseen is aligning, the soil of consciousness is working. Many grow weary in the waiting because they believe faith is a feeling. But faith is deeper than emotion. It is a decision, a choice to believe, even when everything tells you not to. A decision to keep speaking life, to keep imagining success, to keep holding the image of the outcome you desire, even when the world mirrors the opposite. That is when your belief becomes powerful. That is when it begins to stir the unseen and cause the abundant to break through. Faith is not idle. It moves mountains. It dissolves timelines. It accelerates overflow. Your belief, when held consistently, must create. It cannot fail, because it is a spiritual law. As within, so without. The world cannot help but reflect the dominant assumptions you hold. And when your faith becomes unshakable, when your inner vision becomes more real than your outer situation, you will see what was once invisible break through into form. So plant your seed, water it with gratitude, guard it with trust, speak life over it, and let it grow. Because what you believe in the dark will soon shine in the light. Delay is one of life's greatest illusions. When something doesn't arrive on your schedule, the mind is quick to assume rejection, abandonment, or failure. But the truth is deeper. Delay is not denial, it is divine alignment. It is the space where things are not falling apart, but falling into place. The overflow is not missing, it is maturing. It is being tailored, shaped, and positioned perfectly to meet you at the exact moment you are prepared to receive it. In the unseen realm, everything responds to your assumptions. What you consistently believe about yourself, your worth, your future, these assumptions create the inner blueprint that reality must eventually follow. But just as a seed doesn't bloom the moment it's planted, your desires require an incubation period. Not because they are being withheld from you, but because they are aligning to match who you are becoming. The universe does not work by punishment or reward. It works by reflection. It mirrors the consciousness you hold. When you declare abundance but still feel anxious, when you envision success but still act from fear, the delay is not a failure, it is mercy. It is grace. It gives you the space to align your inner world with what you've asked for. It is not that the blessing is too far away. It's that it's waiting for you to become the version of yourself who can hold it, handle it, and sustain it. That version of you is already within. You are simply being invited to grow into it. Often, people give up in the middle. They walk away from their desire because the timing did not match their expectations. But they don't realize that what they call waiting is the period of alignment. It is the sacred unfolding, where every piece is being arranged, every door being positioned, every heart being softened, including their own. What appears to be silence is strategy. What feels like stagnation is structure being laid. And what looks like nothing is often the most active part of the manifestation process. Trust that while you can't see it, the unseen is moving. The overflow is tracking your assumptions, your persistence, your inner conversations. You are not being tested, you are being positioned. So instead of worrying about the delay, use it. Use it to affirm, use it to embody, use it to walk in gratitude as if it has already arrived. Let your belief grow stronger in the quiet moments, not weaker. Let your trust deepen in the stillness. The one who can remain faithful in delay is the one who is truly aligned, because that one understands it's already done. The delay you experience is not a detour, it is precision. Divine timing always arrives on schedule, and when it does, the overflow will feel effortless, natural, and inevitable, not because it suddenly appeared, but because it had been aligning with you all along. You are not separate from the abundance you seek. You are not a distant observer waiting for prosperity to arrive. You are the door, the living access point through which abundance flows from the unseen into the seen. Everything you desire already exists in potential, waiting for one thing, a vessel through which it can enter this world. That vessel is your consciousness. The overflow doesn't fall from the sky or appear from nowhere. It is summoned by the state of your being. It flows through your thoughts, your feelings, your self-concept. If you see yourself as lacking, the door remains closed. But when you see yourself as abundant, as worthy, as already possessing what you desire, the door swings wide open and the flow begins. You are the channel. What you believe, you create. What you assume, you attract. What you persist in mentally, you eventually express physically. There is no outer force keeping abundance from you, only inner beliefs that have yet to align. The more you raise your awareness to the truth of who you are, a spiritual being, divine by nature, limitless in essence, the more your life will reflect that truth. Many wait for abundance to come from outside, a raise, a person, a miracle, but the external is always the echo, never the source. The true source is within. Change your inner conversations, and you change the conditions around you. Speak not as one in need, but as one who already has. Feel not lack, but fulfillment. Think not of becoming, but of being. This is not self-deception. It is alignment with the laws of creation. You are not hoping your life will improve. You are declaring it improved in consciousness first. That declaration, when felt consistently, sends ripples through the invisible. It shifts people, circumstances, events in ways you cannot predict, but always in ways that match your inner state. To be the door means you hold the key. No one outside you is required to approve, help, or agree. You do not need permission to receive. Your consciousness is the only gatekeeper. And once you begin to see yourself as the source, not the seeker, everything changes. You move from waiting to welcoming, from lack to overflow. So open wide. Release the doubts, the fears, the old identities that whisper, you can't. Choose instead the quiet knowing that says, it's already mine. You don't need to force the flow. You only need to become available to it. And you do that by aligning your self-image with abundance, your thoughts with wholeness, and your feelings with gratitude. When you do this, the overflow becomes natural, not a miracle, but a reflection, not a chase, but a current. It doesn't come from out there. It arises from within and takes shape around you. If this is you, you are the door. The overflow is not coming to you, it is flowing through you. Let it in by being the one who already has, and the world will mirror back the truth of what you've allowed yourself to become. The overflow you seek is not somewhere far away. It's not in the hands of luck, nor is it trapped in delay or denial. It begins within you. Your imagination, your faith, your ability to live from the end. All of these are tools that shape your reality. The silence is not a sign of absence. It is the sacred space of preparation. The delay is not rejection, it's alignment. And the abundance is not external, it flows through your very consciousness. You are not waiting on the world. The world is waiting on you to fully believe. When you assume it is done, when you embody the truth of your desire, the overflow becomes inevitable. It will come not because you begged for it, but because you became the one who naturally receives it. You are the vessel. You are the open door. Live from the end. Hold the vision. Water your inner world with gratitude and trust. And soon, when you least expect it, the overflow will pour into your life, not as a surprise, but as a reflection of who you've already become within. Sincere thanks to the listener. Thank you for listening with your heart open and your spirit ready. May these words serve as a mirror to your own power and a reminder that everything you seek is already seeking you. Stay faithful. Stay aligned. Your overflow is not a matter of if, but when. And that when is closer than you think. There is a secret that most overlook: the power of stillness. When you are still, truly still, you are not doing nothing, you are allowing everything. Stillness is the state of surrender, the moment when the mind quiets and the soul begins to speak. It is there in the silent sanctuary of your being that creation begins. You have been taught to chase, to run after dreams, to force results. But what if I told you the jackpot, the millions, the breakthrough, the shift has been waiting not for your effort, but for your stillness? Be still. Because stillness is not weakness, it is power, it is clarity. It is the invisible hand that writes your story while the world sleeps. When you stop scrambling in fear and start standing in faith, the jackpot rushes to meet you. Now believe, not in desperation, not in hope, but in certainty. Believe like the seed believes it will bloom, because it simply knows. Take the desire you hold in your heart, and now assume it is already yours. Feel the joy of having it. Feel the relief, the confidence, the thrill, as if the jackpot were already in your hand. Your imagination is not just play, it is the workshop of your future. When you feel something is true, even in silence, the universe obeys. You don't win by begging the world, you win by knowing within. What you accept as truth, the world must express. Stop waiting for evidence. You are the evidence. You are the source of reality, not the servant to it. And so now, receive. Let go of how. Let go of when. Let go of the need to prove anything. Let go of the struggle. What you let go of in the outer world, you claim in the inner world. Walk in gratitude as if it has happened. Say thank you not because you see the millions, but because you know they are already yours. Feel rich before the numbers hit. Feel chosen before the confirmation comes. Feel lucky now, and luck will pour over you like a waterfall. The jackpot isn't coming to you, it's coming from you. It was never in the numbers, it was always in your mind. Be still, believe, receive, because the jackpot is not a future event. It is your present assumption. And the moment you claim it within, the world has no choice. It must deliver. In the silence of your being, where the noise of the world fades and the chaos of the mind slows to stillness, a sacred doorway opens. This is not the stillness of inactivity or apathy, but the deep and powerful stillness of alignment. alignment with the unseen, with the source, with the creative force that breathes worlds into existence. Stillness is not a void, it is not absence, it is presence in its purest form. It is in that quiet space that you remember who you are, beyond the stories, beyond the struggles, beyond the doubt. When you allow yourself to be still, truly still, you enter the dimension where reality is shaped, not by force, not by action, but by assumption and inner knowing. It is the womb of manifestation, the place where all things begin. Most people live on the surface of life, reacting, chasing, striving, unaware that their very effort is often the resistance blocking the very thing they desire. They confuse motion with progress, activity with power. But the real power comes not from doing, but from being, from knowing, from stepping into the silence and remembering that creation does not come from strain, but from surrender. When you are still, something shifts. The mind that once demanded proof begins to rest. The heart that once ached with longing starts to trust. And in that subtle, sacred shift, the energy that once chased becomes the energy that receives. The world has taught you to be busy, to fix, to hustle, to run. But the soul teaches something different. It says, be still. Not because there is nothing to do, but because everything is already done. In the stillness, you hear the voice beneath all voices, the whisper of your true self saying, it is already yours, it is already done. And you begin to believe, not because of external evidence, but because of an inner certainty that needs no explanation. The fear that once controlled you no longer holds the same weight. The doubt that once screamed begins to fade into silence. And in that silence, you feel peace. Not because you've figured it all out, but because you finally let go of the need to. Stillness is not a delay, it is the divine pause that lets the universe reorganize itself around your inner state. When you are still, you are declaring with full faith, I no longer chase because I have received. You shift your vibration from seeker to receiver, from lack to fulfillment. In that stillness, your assumptions become louder than your circumstances. Your faith becomes stronger than your fears. Your inner reality begins to rewrite the outer world. So rest in that silence, not with hesitation, but with reverence. It is not an empty space. It is the most powerful place you will ever be. It is the space where worlds are born. It is the field where energy responds to intention. It is the moment where you stop speaking to the world and let the world begin listening to you. In the stillness, there is no effort, only alignment. In the stillness, you do not ask, you know. In the stillness, the miracle is already on its way. And all that remains is for you to receive it. Faith is not a fragile hope whispered in desperation. It is the inner conviction that what you desire is already yours, even before your senses confirm it. It is not a longing, but a claiming. True belief does not beg or plead, it accepts. It moves with quiet certainty. It knows. Belief is not something you chase after as if it were hiding beyond the mountains of doubt. It is not something you wait to feel once evidence appears. Belief is something you choose. You declare within yourself that what you have imagined is now real, and then you persist in that inner knowing regardless of what your eyes see. Most people confuse faith with hope. Hope waits, hope wonders, hope says, maybe someday. But faith declares, it is already done. Faith is active even in stillness. It reshapes your state of being. It alters your tone, your posture, your vibration. When you believe, truly believe, you are no longer asking, you are preparing to receive. There is a law at work, silent and constant, that reflects your inner assumptions outwardly. What you hold to be true in the unseen becomes what is seen. The world does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your convictions. Life is not reacting to your words, it is reflecting your beliefs. So ask yourself, what are you assuming to be true? Are you believing in your wealth while feeling poor? Are you affirming success while fearing failure? You cannot hold conflicting beliefs and expect manifestation. You must become one with the thing you desire. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. When you believe it is yours, you act, feel, speak, and walk as though it is done. This is not pretending, this is not fantasy, this is creation. When an architect sees the building in their mind, they are not delusional, they are beginning the process. And in the same way, your belief is the blueprint of your reality. Every assumption is a seed. When you water it with faith and emotion, it must grow. You must learn to trust the invisible, not with passive waiting, but with active knowing. When you say, I am wealthy, not because the money is in your hands, but because it is in your mind and heart, you are walking in faith. You are claiming your truth before the world has had time to reflect it. This is the inner shift that changes everything. The moment you stop hoping and start believing, the universe responds. The people you need begin to show up. The doors you thought were closed begin to open. The opportunities you long for seem to find you, not because something outside changed, but because you did. Belief is the builder of your world. It carves paths where there were walls. It creates bridges where there were gaps. The outer is only echoing what the inner declares. So don't wait to believe after you see. Believe now, assume now, live now in the awareness that what you desire is already yours. And then simply watch. Watch the world rearrange itself around the power of your inner certainty. You do not receive what you want, you receive what you feel to be true. Wishing keeps your desire at a distance. It acknowledges separation. It says, I do not yet have. But feeling collapses that distance. It draws the future into the present. When you feel that you already possess the thing you desire, whether it be money, love, health, or success, you create the inner atmosphere that aligns with its arrival. Feeling is not a side effect of manifestation, it is the cause. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. You do not wait to feel joy until the money arrives. You feel joy now, and the money follows. You do not wait to feel loved until the partner appears. You feel loved now, and love reveals itself. It is the inner state that gives birth to the outer reflection. Many people try to manifest with words, with thoughts, with repetition, but their emotions contradict their intentions. They speak abundance while feeling lack. They declare success while feeling unworthy. But it is the emotion that speaks the loudest. The universe does not respond to what you say. It responds to the vibration you carry. Emotional acceptance is the true receiving. It is when your body, your breath, your imagination, and your energy all agree. I already have it. That agreement within yourself sends out a signal, a frequency, that calls the reality into form. The moment you feel wealthy, the world begins to shape itself to reflect that wealth. The moment you feel chosen, doors open that you couldn't force with action. The feeling doesn't have to be dramatic, it can be subtle. A quiet confidence, a steady peace, a soft thrill that runs beneath the surface of your day. But it must be real. You must enter into that inner experience of already having. That is the secret. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to get there. Not gratitude for what you have, but gratitude for what you've assumed to already be yours. Gratitude for the millions, even if your bank account says otherwise. Gratitude for the opportunity, even if it hasn't knocked yet. When you say thank you not as a wish but as a declaration, you shift your state. You signal to life, I am aligned with this reality. This is not pretending. This is not playing make-believe. This is energetic alignment. This is how all creation works, from the inside out. The outer world is delayed. It echoes what you consistently feel to be true. So the question is not, how do I get it? The real question is, can I feel it now? Can you feel the relief of the money in your hands? Can you feel the joy of the answered prayer? Can you feel the security, the freedom, the fulfillment as if it has already happened? If you can, then you have it. Because feeling is the evidence of possession, the outer proof will come, not because you chased it, but because you became it. You lived in the energy of it. And energy always precedes form. So feel it now, own it now, live it now, and let reality do the rest. The world you see around you is not the cause, it is the effect. It is not the master, it is the mirror. Everything you observe in your outer life is a reflection of the thoughts, beliefs, and feelings you hold within. Your circumstances, your relationships, your finances, your health, all of them echo the image you carry in your inner world. Yet most people live in reverse. They try to change the mirror without changing the face it reflects. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and frowning, then demanding the reflection smile first. It's absurd, yet this is how most of us approach life. We try to manipulate outcomes, force change, push people, or chase success, all while remaining in the same internal state. But the mirror cannot lie, it only reflects, it cannot lead. It follows when you react to what you see. When you let the circumstances dictate your emotions, your identity, or your belief in what's possible, you give your power away. You hand over the pen and let the world write your story. But the truth is, what you see now is a past creation. It's a projection of an earlier belief, an older assumption, a former state of being. You are never looking at now, you are always looking at then. So if you want a new future, you must stop battling the old reflection. Stop fighting the mirror. Stop trying to rearrange reality from the outside in. The only way to shift your world is to shift your inner image, your assumption of who you are, what you deserve, and what is possible for you. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means recognizing it for what it is. Feedback, not fate. It is showing you what you've believed up until now, but you're not bound to continue the story. You are free to rewrite the script at any moment. The mirror will follow. The power lies not in reaction, but in assumption. Begin to assume your new reality within, regardless of what your senses report. Assume wealth even when bills come in. Assume love even in moments of loneliness. Assume health even when symptoms appear. The outer world may delay, but it cannot deny what is consistently felt within. When you stop trying to fix what you see and instead align with what you know, life begins to shift. People change, circumstances unfold, and opportunities arise, not because you forced them, but because your inner world demanded it. Creation is always inside out. The world bends to the image you carry, not occasionally, but always. The more you understand this, the less power you give to appearances, and the more authority you claim over your reality. So close your eyes. What are you projecting? What are you believing without question? What are you assuming to be true? Change that, and the mirror will follow. There comes a moment in the manifestation process when you must stop pushing and start allowing. That moment is when you let go, not out of defeat, but in trust. Trying too hard sends a signal that you do not yet have what you desire. It affirms lack, not abundance. And the universe, ever obedient to your inner state, mirrors back what you consistently affirm. consciously or unconsciously. Possession blocks the flow, desperation repels. The more you hold tightly to something, the more you signal that it is separate from you. Your energy becomes tense, anxious, controlling. And creation cannot move through that. Energy must flow freely. It must move through openness, not constriction. Letting go does not mean you no longer care. It means you now believe. It means you trust that your desire has been heard, your assumption has been accepted, and the manifestation is already in motion. You no longer feel the need to micromanage reality. You no longer question the timing. You release your grip and step into faith. When you plant a seed in the soil, you do not dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you protect it, but you do not disturb it. You trust the process that you cannot see. The same is true with manifestation. The inner seed, the assumption, the feeling, the vision, must be planted and then left alone. Interference from fear or doubt only delays what was already on its way. Detachment is not indifference, it is power. It is saying, I know this belongs to me, so I no longer need to chase it. It is the calm confidence of one who understands that all things unfold in perfect time. Detachment opens the door. It clears the space. It invites the outcome in. The energy of it is done is very different from the energy of will it happen? When you say it is done, you rest. You stop looking for signs. You stop scanning your reality for confirmation. You simply live in the energy of already having. That is the vibration that magnetizes your desire to you. Often, people block their own blessings by clinging too tightly. They try to control every detail, fear every delay, and question every step. But what you fear, you feed. And what you release, you allow. The paradox is this: the less you chase it, the faster it comes. Not because you stop wanting, but because you stop resisting. The universe responds to surrender, it responds to ease. The moment you relax and trust, things begin to move. The phone rings, the opportunity appears, the breakthrough unfolds, not because you forced it, but because you finally got out of the way and let go, not of your desire, but of your need to control the path. Trust that your intention, once firmly held and emotionally accepted, has already taken root in the unseen. Your work now is to live in the state of the wish fulfilled, to carry the energy of thank you, not please. So breathe, detach, step back, and let life do what it does best. Because only when you let go can it come in. Gratitude is not merely a polite response to receiving. It is the magnetic power that draws your desire closer. It is not an afterthought, it is a creative force. When you express gratitude, not only for what you can touch, but also for what you've assumed is yours, even before it arrives, you step into the true vibration of wealth. Gratitude affirms ownership. When you say thank you before the manifestation has occurred, you are not pretending, you are claiming. You are acknowledging that in the unseen realm, the thing you desire is already yours. You are walking in alignment with the truth that reality is shaped from the inside out, and that what you feel is done within must eventually appear without. Most wait to feel thankful after something good happens. But those who understand the deeper laws of creation give thanks before the evidence. They understand that to feel grateful now is to live in the end result. And to live in the end is the secret key that unlocks the door to manifestation. Gratitude is emotional certainty. It says, I have received, even if your senses tell you otherwise. It is not a wish. It is not a hopeful gesture. It is faith in action. It is the emotional signature of someone who knows how this game works. Someone who understands that the outer world is delayed and that what you see is only catching up to what you have already claimed within. When you give thanks for the jackpot before the numbers arrive, you're not fooling yourself, you're forming the future. When you feel and speak as though the millions are already in your hands, you tune your vibration to abundance, and the world must respond in kind. You've entered the state of the receiver, and life only delivers to that state. Gratitude lifts you out of lack. It silences the voice of worry. It dissolves doubt. It softens resistance. It doesn't ask how will it come. It simply smiles and says thank you. It is done. Gratitude keeps you anchored in the truth of your assumption. It keeps you from wavering when reality tries to distract you with delays or contradictions. Those who are truly rich, whether in money, love, peace, or purpose, speak the language of gratitude constantly. They do not wait to feel blessed. They declare it in every breath. They celebrate the invisible as if it were visible, and that celebration creates the condition for receiving. So begin now. Say thank you for the life you've imagined. Say thank you for the money that's on its way. Say thank you for the answered prayer, the open door, the dream fulfilled, even if you see no sign of it yet. That is the kind of faith that moves mountains. That is the kind of gratitude that bends reality. Because the one who is grateful before the gift arrives is not guessing. They know. And the universe always responds to that knowing with more to be thankful for. You are not here to wish, to wait, or to wonder. You are here to create, not by force, but by stillness, belief, feeling, and trust. Everything you desire already exists in the unseen. Your job is not to chase it, but to align with it. Be still and know that it is done. Believe with the certainty of one who already holds the promise. Feel the joy, the calm, and the gratitude of having it now. Detach from the how, release the when, and simply allow. Know that life reflects your inner state, and when that state becomes rich in gratitude, full of faith, and certain of the outcome, the world has no choice but to respond. The jackpot is not luck. It is law. It is yours the moment you accept it as done. Thank you for walking this journey inward, where your true power lives. Thank you for choosing to believe. Hate you for feeling it real, and most of all, thank you for receiving what has always been waiting for you. Thank you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. Your bank account flooded with wealth beyond measure. The air around you thick with the ease and security of financial abundance. Breathe it in. Feel the weight of prosperity upon your shoulders, not as a burden, but as a liberation, because it is already yours. You do not chase wealth. Wealth is drawn to you. It arrives not through force, but through alignment. Those who are truly rich do not hope for wealth. They embody it. Their posture, their tone, their decisions, all rooted in the certainty that abundance is their birthright. And so, if you would walk into your inheritance, you must first assume the feeling of already possessing it. The mind does not differentiate between what is seen and what is deeply believed. If you persist in this assumption, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect your conviction. Do not ask, when will the millions come? Do not plead with circumstances to change. Instead ask, how would I feel right now if I already had it? How would you walk into a room? How would you carry yourself, knowing that every financial need was met before you even spoke a word? This is not pretense. It is creation. You are not pretending to be wealthy. You are claiming the wealth that is already yours in the unseen. When you master the art of feeling it real, your external world must follow. It is law. Live today as though you already hold the millions in your hands. Speak as one who has arrived. Give thanks for the abundance that has already found you, and soon you will open your eyes to a world that has reshaped itself to match your inner reality. You have already won. Now act like it. The world you see around you is not separate from you. It is a mirror. Every circumstance, every event, every person who enters your life is merely an external projection of what you hold to be true within. If you believe yourself to be struggling, the world will give you more struggle. If you accept limitation as your truth, limitation will follow you like a shadow. But if you embrace abundance as your natural state, the world must conform and provide it. Understand this, you do not react to reality, you create it. Most people make the mistake of believing they must first see physical evidence of wealth before they can feel wealthy. They wait for a change in their bank account, a promotion, or an external validation to confirm their success. But this is entirely backward. The world does not cause your feelings cause the world to shift. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself as a person of great wealth. Not someone who is hoping for riches, but someone who already has them. How do you walk? How do you speak? How do you make decisions? A wealthy person does not hesitate when presented with an opportunity. They do not second guess whether they are deserving. They move with certainty because their inner world already knows they are wealthy. Now, here is the secret that changes everything. If you can assume this mindset now, before the wealth appears, the wealth must come. This is not wishful thinking, this is law. The outer world is powerless to do anything except reflect your inner state. Your beliefs about money, success, and yourself act as an invisible force shaping the conditions of your life. So, if you desire wealth, do not ask, when will it come? Instead, ask how you would feel if it were already here. Immerse yourself in that feeling until it becomes your dominant state of being. Let gratitude flood your heart as though you have already received it. Walk through life as one who has arrived, not as one who is waiting. Reality does not create your belief creates reality. The moment you shift internally, the world must shift externally. Your wealth is already yours. It is only waiting for you to claim it. Do not wait for millions to appear before you believe they are yours. Do not look to your bank account for confirmation of your wealth. The greatest secret of creation is this. You must assume the feeling of already having what you desire, and the world must conform to your assumption. Most people make the mistake of thinking they must first see wealth before they can believe in it. They wait for external proof, for circumstances to shift, before they allow themselves to feel abundant. But this is the opposite of how reality works. The world does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are being in consciousness. If you feel lack, you will receive more lack. If you feel wealthy, even when physical evidence is not yet present, wealth must find you. This is the law of assumption. Assumption is not mere daydreaming, it is the state of certainty. It is the inner conviction that what you desire is already yours, even if your senses tell you otherwise. The mind does not distinguish between what is physically real and what is vividly imagined. When you persist in the assumption that you are already wealthy, your subconscious mind accepts it as truth, and your external world begins to shift accordingly. Imagine a person who has just won millions. How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they make choices? They do not hesitate, doubt, or second guess. They move through life with ease, knowing that financial struggle is no longer a concern. Now ask yourself, why wait for the money to arrive before stepping into this mindset? If the law states that assumption precedes reality, then begin now, embody the feeling of wealth before it materializes, and soon it must. The only thing that delays manifestation is your doubt, your hesitation, your tendency to look at what is rather than focusing on what will be. Your reality is fluid, always reshaping itself to match your dominant assumption. The moment you fully commit to believing in your wealth without needing to see it first, the channels will open and it will come. So act as though you already have it. Make decisions from the mindset of abundance. Feel gratitude as if your millions are already deposited in your account. Reality will have no choice but to mirror your unwavering assumption. It is already yours. Claim it. One of the greatest obstacles to manifesting wealth is the obsession with how it will come. The logical mind seeks control, wanting to map out every step, predict every outcome, and force circumstances into alignment. But this is a mistake. The how is not your concern. Your only responsibility is to assume the mindset of a wealthy person and trust that the path will reveal itself effortlessly. Think of a tree growing from a seed. The seed does not need to worry about how the sunlight will reach it or how the roots will find water. It simply grows because it is its nature to do so. In the same way, when you plant the seed of wealth in your consciousness, life arranges the right people, circumstances, and opportunities to make it real. Your only task is to remain rooted in the assumption that you are already wealthy. The problem arises when people try to force wealth into their lives through worry, doubt, or excessive effort. They constantly check their surroundings for signs of progress, questioning whether it's working, whether they are doing it right, whether they should change their strategy. But these actions reveal a lack of faith. True wealth does not come from desperation. It comes from certainty. A wealthy person does not obsess over how money will arrive. They do not stress over whether the opportunity will come through a job, an investment, a business deal, or an unexpected windfall. They simply know that money flows to them effortlessly. Their confidence in this truth is what keeps the doors open for abundance to enter. When you detach from the how, you allow the universe to deliver your wealth in the most efficient, unexpected, and often miraculous ways. You open yourself to opportunities you never could have planned for. The only thing that can block your wealth is your insistence on controlling the process. So, release the need to know. Surrender the details. Assume the feeling of wealth now, and let life figure out the rest. Walk, speak, and act like a person who already has everything they desire. Your belief is the engine that moves reality, and the moment you stop resisting, the floodgates will open. Trust the process. The wealth is already on its way. Let it come. Everything you experience in life originates from one place: your imagination. The wealth you desire, the success you dream of, the freedom you long for, none of these can manifest until you first conceive them in your mind. The world you see around you is simply a reflection of your inner world. If you persist in seeing yourself as someone who struggles, your life will continue to reflect struggle. But the moment you assume the mindset of wealth, your reality must shift to match it. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the blueprint of creation. What you vividly assume to be true in your mind becomes true in the physical world. This is the great secret of life. You do not need to wait for wealth to appear before you feel wealthy. Instead, you must feel wealthy first, and then wealth will appear. The order is crucial. Ask yourself, if I had already won millions, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I move through the world? A wealthy person does not worry about bills. They do not hesitate to invest in themselves. They do not operate from a mindset of scarcity or fear. Instead, they live with confidence, ease, and joy, knowing that their wealth is an unshakable part of their reality. If you begin to embody this mindset now, before any external proof appears, The world must rearrange itself to match your assumption. This is why so many remain stuck in cycles of lack. They continue to see themselves as lacking. They allow their current circumstances to dictate their beliefs instead of using their imagination to override those circumstances. But when you truly assume the state of being wealthy, the outer world has no choice but to conform. Your subconscious mind, which governs all things, will begin to lead you to the right opportunities, the right connections, and the right actions, all effortlessly. So live in the assumption now. When you wake up, feel the excitement of already being wealthy. When you walk, walk with confidence. When you make decisions, do so from the mindset of someone who already has everything they need. The more real it feels in your imagination, the faster it will become real in your life. Reality is not fixed. It is shaped by your dominant thoughts. And when you persist in the assumption that you are already wealthy, your world must reshape itself to match. It is law. Gratitude is the most powerful confirmation of belief. It is the seal of faith, the evidence that you already know your desire is yours. When you express gratitude before you see the millions in your bank account, you signal to the universe that you have already received it in consciousness. And what is accepted in consciousness must manifest in the physical world. Most people only express gratitude after they receive something. They wait until they see proof, until circumstances confirm their desire has arrived. But this is the opposite of how creation works. If you truly believe that wealth is already yours, would you not already be grateful? Would you not wake up each morning with a heart full of appreciation, knowing that your millions are simply making their way into your hands? Gratitude is the bridge between assumption and manifestation. When you assume the feeling of already having wealth and follow it with deep, sincere gratitude, you dissolve all doubt. You no longer question whether it is coming, you know it is. And when there is no doubt, no hesitation, no fear, it must appear. Imagine a person who has just won millions. They do not wake up questioning if they are wealthy. They know it, and they feel overwhelming gratitude for it. Now take on that same mindset. Each day, thank the universe, God, or your higher self for the financial abundance that is already yours. Say, I am so grateful that wealth flows effortlessly to me. I am thankful for the millions that are already mine. My financial freedom is secured, and I rejoice in the endless opportunities that surround me. This gratitude should not be forced or robotic. It must be felt. When you truly feel gratitude for something, it imprints on your subconscious mind as truth. And what the subconscious accepts as truth will always be reflected in your outer world. So express gratitude not just once, but consistently. Be thankful for the opportunities, the ideas, the unexpected gifts, and the unseen forces working in your favor. Even before physical proof appears, give thanks as if it is already done. This is the final step. The moment you surrender, trust, and allow the wealth to flow to you. Gratitude completes the process, sealing your assumption into reality. Your millions are already yours. Now rejoice in them. The only thing standing between you and the life of abundance you desire is your ability to persist in your assumption until it hardens into fact. Most people falter because they allow doubt, fear, and external circumstances to dictate their belief. They assume wealth for a moment, then look around and see no change, and immediately revert to their old mindset of lack. But creation is not instant. It requires persistence. The moment you assume yourself to be wealthy, the process has already begun. Your subconscious mind has received the command, and the unseen forces of the universe have set events into motion. But if you waver, if you question, if you doubt, if you start searching for evidence, you interrupt the process. You uproot the seed before it has a chance to grow. Reality always lags behind imagination. The world you see now is simply the reflection of your past assumptions. If you want a new reality, you must hold firm to your new assumption until your world reshapes itself accordingly. A sculptor does not abandon his work midway because the marble has not yet taken form. He persists, chiseling away, knowing that the masterpiece already exists within the stone. Your wealth is already within you. It is simply waiting for you to persist in your assumption long enough for it to take shape. Doubt and worry are the destroyers of creation. The moment you entertain thoughts of, what if it doesn't happen, or maybe this isn't working, you introduce resistance, slowing down the manifestation process. But when you remain unwavering, when you refuse to be moved by temporary appearances, you demonstrate true faith. And faith is the force that bends reality to your will. Each day, reinforce your assumption, feel it, live in it, walk in it, speak as though it is already done. If circumstances try to contradict your belief, ignore them. Your current reality is merely the shadow of your past thoughts. Your new assumption is the cause. Reality must eventually conform to it. So persist. Remain steadfast no matter what appears before you. Continue assuming, believing, and knowing until what was once a vision in your mind becomes an undeniable fact in your world. This is law. Your millions are already yours. Hold the assumption until it manifests, and when it does, you will look back and realize it was always yours. Everything you desire, wealth, success, abundance, already exists within you. Your imagination is the key. What you assume to be true will inevitably take form in your world. When you act as if you have already won millions, when you detach from the how, when you persist in your belief without doubt, and when you express deep gratitude as if it is already done, you activate the unseen forces that shape reality in your favor. The only thing required of you is faithful persistence. Do not look to the outside world for confirmation. Create from within. The world is simply reflecting your dominant state of mind. If you remain steadfast in your assumption, reality must shift to match it. This is an unbreakable law. So, walk forward with confidence. Live as though your wealth is already here. Speak it, feel it, embody it. The millions you desire are not in some distant future. They are already yours in consciousness, waiting to materialize. Now, go forth with unwavering belief. Hold the assumption, persist until it hardens into fact. And when the wealth appears, as it surely will, you will not be surprised, for you knew all along that it was already yours. Thank you for listening. Your abundance is waiting. Claim it now. There is no accident in your presence here today. You have been led to this moment not by chance, but by the silent working of your own imagination. The world you see before you is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you have entertained. And now, I tell you, your time has come. You are no longer waiting. The millions you seek are already yours. But you must first accept this truth, not with the rational mind that questions and doubts, but with the inner knowing that what you claim within must manifest without. You do not need to chase, beg, or toil endlessly for your wealth. The moment you assume yourself to be the one who has it, the entire universe conspires to make it so. See yourself now as the one who has already received. Feel the weight of success pressing upon you, the joy of financial freedom coursing through your being. Walk through this world as one who has no lack, no need, no limitation. Because what you assume with conviction becomes the law of your life. If you persist in the feeling of already having, it is impossible for the world not to comply. Doubt not. Let no external appearance shake you. If today your senses tell you a different story, ignore them. Do not look at the world and say, I am still waiting. Instead, say to yourself boldly, it is done. Gratitude is the bridge. Speak as if you are already in possession of your wealth. Say, I am so thankful for the millions flowing into my life. I feel the abundance surrounding me. Speak it until your words become flesh. The path is already laid before you. Your time is no longer in some distant future. Your time is now. Walk in faith, claim your millions within, and watch as the world bends to fulfill your assumption. Everything you see, touch, and experience in this world is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you have persistently held within. The reality you call real is, in truth, nothing but a shadow cast by your imagination. There is no outside force shaping your life, no external authority deciding whether you will have wealth or struggle. The only determining factor is the state of consciousness you choose to occupy. You are not separate from your desires. The millions you seek are not something outside of you waiting for the right conditions to appear. They already exist, but they must first exist within you before they can take shape in the physical world. The moment you assume and accept wealth as your reality, the outer world must rearrange itself to mirror that assumption. There is no other way. The mistake many make is in believing that their imagination is simply a form of fantasy, an escape from reality. But this is the great misunderstanding. Imagination is the only reality because it is the source of all things. Everything that exists, every building, every piece of technology, every fortune ever made, first existed in someone's imagination before it took form. Nothing comes into being unless it is first claimed in the unseen. So what does this mean for you? It means that you must assume the state of the millionaire now before your senses confirm it. You must walk as though wealth is already yours, speak as though you already have it, and think from the position of one who possesses limitless abundance. If you continue to believe that you must work towards it, or that it is something you may have one day, you will forever push it into the future. Live in the end. See yourself in possession of the millions. What does your life look like now that you have it? Where do you live? How do you feel? Who do you help? The clearer you define this reality within, the faster it solidifies in the external world. Do not concern yourself with the how or when. The bridge of incidents will unfold naturally, in ways you cannot predict. But that is not your work. Your work is to hold the assumption firmly, unshaken by any contradiction in the present moment. Doubt is the only thing that delays the process. If you look at your current circumstances and allow them to dictate your belief, you have made the outer world your master instead of the servant it was meant to be. The physical world only reflects, it does not create. To change the reflection, you must change what is projected from within. Your millions are already here, waiting for you to accept them. The moment you embody the feeling of being wealthy, the moment you claim it as your truth, the world must comply. The law is simple. What you assume and persist in must harden into fact. So assume wisely, persist faithfully, and let the world conform to the reality you have created within. The greatest deception in this world is the belief that time separates you from your desires. You have been conditioned to think in terms of waiting, striving, and earning, believing that what you seek is always in the future, just out of reach. But this is an illusion. The truth is that there is no separation between you and your desires, except the belief that they are not yet yours. The moment you claim something as true within, it is yours, for creation is finished and everything already exists in the unseen. When you desire wealth, you are not creating it from nothing. You are simply becoming aware of what already exists in another dimension of reality. It is not something that must be built over time, achieved through struggle, or brought forth by external conditions. Your millions exist now, but they can only become visible when you assume the state of already having them. This is not wishful thinking, it is the law by which all things come into being. Most people delay their blessings by constantly acknowledging their current limitations. They believe that their bank account, job, or circumstances dictate what is possible. But the outer world is just a reflection of past assumptions. If you continue to dwell on the lack, if you keep telling yourself that wealth is coming one day, you are unknowingly pushing it away. You must take possession now, not tomorrow, not next year, but in this very moment. How do you do this? You shift your awareness. Right now, close your eyes and imagine yourself already in possession of great wealth. Feel the joy, the relief, the confidence that comes with knowing you have more than enough. Hear the conversations you would have, experience the ease with which you move through life. This is not daydreaming, this is the creative act. When you persist in this state, it must become your external reality. For the world cannot help but mirror what you are conscious of being. Doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. The mind conditioned by time will ask, but where is it? Why hasn't it appeared yet? These questions keep you bound to the illusion that you are separate from your desire. The truth is that your assumption is already working. The unseen forces are moving, aligning circumstances, creating the path. But if you look at the world and say nothing is happening, you are stepping out of the state of having and back into the state of waiting. There is nothing to wait for. Your wealth exists now, and it belongs to you the moment you accept it. You must not concern yourself with how it will come or when it will appear. Trust in the law. That which you assume and persist in must become fact. When you embrace this truth and live from it, time will dissolve, and what once seemed distant will be right before you. The promise is now. Claim it. The greatest barrier between you and your desires is the need to control how and when they appear. You have been taught to believe that success comes through effort, strategy, and external action, but this is a misunderstanding of how reality works. Your wealth, your abundance already exists, but it cannot reach you as long as you are consumed with figuring out how it will come and when it will happen. The moment you let go of these questions and rest in the certainty of already having, the unseen forces will move in ways beyond your comprehension to bring it to you. The mind, conditioned by logic and limitation, wants a step-by-step process. It seeks reassurance, asking, what do I need to do? How will this happen? But these questions arise from doubt, and doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. When you truly understand the power of your assumption, you will no longer need to ask how or when. You will know that once you claim something in consciousness, it must appear in your world. Consider this: when you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that nature is at work, even though you cannot see the process unfolding beneath the soil. The same principle applies to your desires. The moment you assume yourself to be wealthy, the moment you feel it as true, the process is begun. But if you constantly question whether it is working, if you look around and say, I don't see anything changing, you are uprooting the seed before it has a chance to grow. The unseen forces, those greater laws that govern all of existence, will move in ways you cannot predict. Your job is not to force the path, but to remain faithful to the end result. Your millions could come through an unexpected opportunity, a sudden breakthrough, or a sequence of events you could never have orchestrated. But these events cannot unfold if you insist on micromanaging the process. The moment you let go, you open the door for the universe to work on your behalf. Detachment is not about giving up. It is about trusting completely. It means releasing the need to manipulate circumstances and instead resting in the knowing that what you have assumed must come to pass. It means walking through life as if your wealth is already here, not anxiously searching for proof, but living in the confidence of already having it. If you find yourself doubting, remind yourself, I do not need to know how or when. My only work is to assume the feeling of already having and trust the unseen to arrange the details. The moment you detach from the process, things will begin to shift, paths will open, people will be drawn to you, and circumstances will adjust in ways you could not have imagined. Trust this. Let go of control. Let the unseen forces move mountains on your behalf. For they will, if only you allow them. Wealth is not something you pursue. It is something you embody. The moment you believe wealth is outside of you, something to chase, it will always remain just out of reach. But when you understand that wealth is a state of being, you shift from striving to receiving. You do not become wealthy through effort alone. You become wealthy by assuming the identity of one who already possesses it. Everything in your life is a reflection of the state of consciousness you consistently occupy. If you see yourself as someone who is struggling, if you speak about lack, if you constantly affirm that money is difficult to obtain, then your world will reflect that belief. But the moment you assume the identity of a wealthy person, not in arrogance, but in certainty, your external world will have no choice but to conform. Ask yourself, how does a millionaire think? How do they carry themselves? What are their daily habits, their thoughts, their actions? They do not walk with hesitation. They move with confidence. They do not speak about lack. They affirm abundance. They do not look at price tags with fear. They know money is a resource that flows to them effortlessly. If you truly believe that wealth is already yours, your entire demeanor will shift. Start by adjusting the way you speak. Words shape reality, for they reveal the beliefs you hold. Stop saying, I can't afford this, or I wish I had more money. Instead, affirm, money flows to me easily, or I always have more than enough. Even if your external circumstances seem unchanged, hold firm in this new language, for it is planting the seeds of a different reality. Then shift the way you walk. Confidence is a sign of wealth. A wealthy person does not rush in desperation. They move with certainty, knowing that everything they desire is already theirs. Stand taller, breathe deeply, and embody the presence of one who has already achieved success. The world responds not to what you wish, but to what you are, and you must become it internally before it manifests externally. Next, align your thinking. Wealthy individuals do not dwell on problems. They focus on solutions. They do not see obstacles as roadblocks, but as stepping stones to greater abundance. When faced with financial challenges, ask yourself, how would a millionaire handle this? And act accordingly. Instead of shrinking in fear, step forward in faith, knowing that you have already won. Your external world is simply a mirror of the state you persist in. If you continuously occupy the mindset of one who already has millions, the world must arrange itself to match that assumption. This is not theory. It is law. Let go of the belief that wealth is something distant, something that requires years of struggle. Assume it now. Live as though it is already yours, and reality will reshape itself to prove you right. You are not waiting to become wealthy. You already are. Walk, speak, and think accordingly. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is persistence. What you assume to be true, what you repeatedly claim within, must by law manifest in your outer world. But the mistake most people make is abandoning their assumption too soon. They look around, see no immediate evidence, and let doubt creep in. Doubt is the only enemy. It is a force that keeps you bound to your old reality, preventing the new from taking form. You must understand that the world you see is simply a reflection of past thoughts, past beliefs, past assumptions. If you have spent years believing in struggle, in limitation, then your external world will still reflect that for a time, even after you change your assumptions. But that does not mean your new reality is not forming. The unseen forces are at work, arranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, shifting the very fabric of your existence. The only thing that can stop this process is your own impatience, your own wavering in belief. Think of a seed planted in the soil. It does not sprout the moment you place it there. Days, even weeks may pass before you see evidence of growth. But the process has begun the moment you planted it. If you were to dig it up every day, questioning if it is working, you would destroy its ability to grow. The same is true for your assumptions. The moment you assume something as true, truly feel it to be real, the process begins. But if you waver, if you return to your old doubts, you halt its progress. Your only task is to persist until it hardens into fact. No matter what the outer world shows you, hold firm in your inner assumption. If your bank account still shows lack, ignore it. If circumstances seem unchanged, persist. The world has no choice but to conform to your dominant state of consciousness, but you must remain faithful to it. Many people give up just before the breakthrough. They assume wealth, they feel it, they begin to see small changes. But then a challenge arises, and they fall back into fear, into worry, into doubt. They let the external world dictate their inner state, instead of understanding that their inner state is what dictates the external. This is why persistence is everything. How long must you persist? Until it is real, until the outer world bends to match your assumption. It does not matter how long it takes. What matters is that you do not waver. You do not check for evidence. You do not question. You do not seek validation from the world. You remain firm in the knowing that what you have assumed is already yours. This is the secret. Not wishful thinking, not hoping, not trying. It is knowing and persisting in that knowing until it takes form. Doubt delays. Fear repels, but persistence creates. Hold your vision and reality will be forced to conform. It is law. Gratitude is the final key that seals your reality. When you are truly grateful, you confirm that you already possess what you desire. You do not beg for it, nor do you wonder if it will come. You know it is yours. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is the ultimate act of faith. It is the silent yet powerful declaration that you have already received, and in that confirmation, you accelerate the arrival of your desire into the physical world. Most people express gratitude only after they receive something, but this is backward thinking. Gratitude must come before the manifestation, not after. If you wait to be grateful only when you see evidence, then you are still operating from doubt. You are still assuming that what you want is separate from you. But when you are grateful in advance, you are stepping into the state of already having, already being, already possessing. And when you persist in that state, the world must rearrange itself to prove you right. Think of how you feel when you have already received something wonderful. There is no anxiety, no doubt, no impatience, just peace and joy. That feeling is the vibration of having, and it is what draws your desire to you faster than anything else. When you say, "Thank you for my financial abundance," even when your bank account says otherwise, you are making a declaration. You are telling the universe, "I know it is already done. I am already that person." Many people unknowingly delay their blessings because they are too focused on when and how their desire will come. They keep checking, worrying, questioning. But gratitude dissolves all of that. The moment you step into gratitude, you release the need to control. You are no longer concerned with the how because you already know it is yours. This trust creates the perfect conditions for manifestation, allowing unseen forces to move without resistance. Gratitude also shifts your focus from lack to abundance. When you dwell on what you don't have, you amplify that reality. But when you focus on what you do have, even if it is only in imagination, you align yourself with more abundance. You train your mind to see opportunities, to recognize wealth, to expect success. And as you persist in this awareness, it must externalize. Each morning, before you even open your eyes, affirm, "Thank you for the millions that are already mine." Feel the joy as if it has already happened. Walk through your day in that energy, knowing that it is unfolding perfectly. Let gratitude be your proof that your reality is already shifting. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. You do not receive and then give thanks. You give thanks and then you receive. The moment you make gratitude your default state, you step into the life that was always meant for you. It is already yours. Everything you desire already exists. The wealth, the success, the abundance. It is not something you must chase, beg for, or force into being. It is something you must claim. Your imagination is the only reality, and what you persist in assuming must become your experience. Time is an illusion. The moment you accept your wealth in consciousness, it is already yours. You do not need to know how or when. Your only task is to trust. Live in the state of already having. Think and walk as one who possesses millions, and persist until the world bends to match your inner conviction. Doubt is the only enemy, and gratitude is the final seal that confirms your reality. When you are grateful in advance, you accelerate the arrival of all you desire. Now, step forward with certainty. The wealth you seek is not in some distant future. It is here now. Assume it, feel it, give thanks for it, and watch as it materializes in ways you could never have imagined. Your time has come. You will have millions. Thank you.